Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, right now, people right around the country, including in my electorate of Petrie, are facing a cost of living crisis under the Albanese Labor Government. The last 2 years have seen significant increases in costs for everyone, regardless of wages. It's not just those people that are doing it tough on low incomes, but it's also people that are on middle incomes that are also doing it really tough, with 12 interest rate rises since the Albanese government was elected, ensuring that the average household mortgage repayment has gone up by $25,000. So think about that for one moment. Since the Labor government was elected, you've been paying off a house under the former coalition government. Since the Labor government has been elected, $25,000 extra a year in interest payments for people trying to get ahead. No, mortgages have gone through the roof. That's a lot of money to find every year, over $2,000 extra a month, $500 a week just in interest payments. No wonder people are doing it tough. And the government comes in here, into this place and in the House of Reps, and claims that more women are in the workplace and there's record workplace participation. No wonder they can't afford to pay their bills. They've all got to get back into the workplace. You know, and they claim that they're doing things for childcare. Well, they need to, because it means that both adults in a couple need to work, and they're going from part-time work to full-time work just to keep their heads above water. This government promised that life would be cheaper and cost of living would be down under them. They promised that there'd be a $275 reduction in electricity prices for every household, and nothing could be further from the truth. Most household electricity prices have gone up by somewhere between $500 and $1,000. Now, that's set long term. That ain't going back. I mean, when have you heard of prices going up and then prices actually coming down? This is the new standard that the people of Petrie and Australians have to live with. And they get in here and claim they're doing something about cost of living by giving a measly $300 one-off payment in the budget. So that means that they put your electricity bill up by $1,000 a year, not just this year, but the year after and the year after that and the year after that, and they're going to give you a measly $300 once off as though all your problems are solved. I mean, please, give me a break. And then they claim that they're doing something about tax cuts. The tax cuts have been eaten up faster by the higher inflation that's happening, and they wouldn't have even done tax cuts if the former coalition government hadn't legislated them initially. In fact, most of the Labor members that were here in the previous term voted against the tax cuts. And then they're sort of claiming in their cost of living like, oh, well, we're giving $300 for electricity, we've done tax cuts, we're doing something for medical bills, which probably would contribute to about 10% of my electorate, so there's still 90% that don't get that. So cost of living has been a huge issue. We've also seen that real wages are at a 14-year low, with 2 quarters in a row of wage growth going backwards. So the government claims that wages have gone up, which is true. Wages have gone up, particularly in the private sector. We're seeing employees having to go to their bosses and say, look, can I have a wage increase just to keep up with the cost of living? The problem is that when the wages go up significantly as well, once again that fuels inflation, and that's passed on through goods and services into the economy that everyone in my electorate and around the country have to buy. So it's a never-ending cycle under the Albanese government of high inflation, wage growth not keeping up with inflation, higher mortgages and interest rate payments, and people are really, really struggling under this government. And when you combine that with the Queensland Labor government that's been in for 10 years and for probably 25 of the last 30, with a lack of infrastructure despite hundreds of thousands of people moving to Queensland, Queenslanders are really doing it tough. Well, we have good news. We've got the opportunity in October to vote out the Miles Labor government and hopefully get some infrastructure built in a timely manner by a new LNP government if they're put into government. But in May next year, we've got an opportunity to change this government. We've got an opportunity to not vote Labor, not to vote for Greens either. That would make things even worse. You know, the Greens have all sorts of crazy ideas around claiming that they want to put on a rent freeze when 90% of the housing in this country comes from the private sector. We can do better.